Preparations began early with 120 police officers falling in at 8 a.m. That was the level of security needed for the thousands beckoned by the UDP's big flag aloft on a windy, bright day to see the Civic Center draped in larger-than-life signage. There were the usual long lines to get in. All the delegates were directed to the floor, while the supporters had to go upstairs to witness the greatest political show the Civic has ever seen, the UDP in full flash and cash. Aspirant for leader, Patrick Faber, arrived with great combustion and clamor. And while he had all this fanfare and uproar and was dancing inside with his supporters, his opponent made no grand entrance from the outside. The camera we snuck inside found him simply making the rounds, pressing the flesh with a few friends and faithful loyalists. Our sneak camera also saw the party leader of the last 21 and a half years give his last hurrah before the crowd. We can't say much of what happened after because our camera had to come back outside where the media was encamped all day, while the only observers known to us inside were the U.S. Embassy staff. Speak about the observation by the U.S. mission in Belize.
Well, basically, they requested to observe, to come in as an observer of the proceedings. We don't have any difficulty with it. We have nothing to hide. And they have always been around. How bad would it have looked if we would have denied them access into the area?
Deny we, sir?
Well, like I said, we are not denying you all. It's just that the business of the party has got to be conducted in a, as much as possible, secure environment.
And seeing it from outside as we were forced to, what stood out was the scale of money being spent on this event. It was in the hundreds of thousands just for a single day. Surely the most ever spent on a political convention.
You're known for your social conscience. The obscenity of spending that happens on a day like this in the hundreds of thousands of dollars has to offend you at some level.
Well, you see, I'm not around, so I can't share that view with you. I don't know. I don't know what is being spent at all. I'm just arriving, so I don't know.
And we're told fair amounts of money were also spent on the delegates, 570 of them on lists often made up of family members.
We're constantly hearing that delegates were handpicked by area representatives or standard bearers, and this may have a bearing on how the vote is cast.
Oh, and indeed, and I don't believe in it, right? But it did happen, and there are in certain standard bearers or ministers or so that definitely they handpick some. They remove those that they believe that will vote for otherwise. I am one of those that didn't. I believe that removing somebody from a delegate election, general election is coming. You will pay the price for that. For that reason, I didn't remove the one or two that didn't want to go my way.
The convention was held under kind of a cloud because of corruption allegations against one of the candidates, John Saldivar, which the UDP hoped all the noise and dancing would drown out.
The events of the next week could prove completely upside down, could turn everything for your camp and John Saldivar upside down. Is it not a reality that he could be leader for a week?
Well, the allegations are there, and we wait and see what next week brings, and then we go from there. But I won't comment on future events that's yet to come or not to come.
So I believe this was all manufactured to compel us, to force us to go with Mr. Faber because, the perception. Perception is not reality. And this is not, not necessarily. I would prefer a politician that helps the people and does what is right for the people than one who is perceived to be a good person, but really worthless and not do nothing for nobody and help the people. So I know I get into perception. This is not show business. Remember, I was in show business. I was an entertainer. This is not entertainment.
With all that John Saldivar has taken on reputationally and the current reputational risk that he faces, is it practicable for the UDP to go forward with John Saldivar as a leader?
And Jules, I will not comment. We are one party, one family of UDPs, and I believe that whatever the outcome, I am one of those that I might not believe in it, but I believe that whoever emerges the leader, my loyalty have to go to that leader.
But suppose next week in Utah there is a testimony which directly implicates him with evidential proof. Then the man you have thrown your whole support behind is in trouble and may be leader for a week.
That is then. Right now, John has said to us, has manifested to us that he has nothing to worry about. And so there's only two people who have the real truth, the court and that man right there named John Saldivar. And if he has looked at all of us and said, I have nothing to worry about, then I believe him.
Would you say it is fraught with risk for the UDP to vote for John Saldivar, knowing that on Monday or Tuesday in a Utah courthouse, evidence could be led which implicates him in the type of wrongdoing which the Prime Minister had said is fatal from a political perspective?
Have you been following the impeachment of President Trump?
Very closely.
After he was acquitted, his rating went right up.
Right.
You can't make any assumptions about allegations. It's the most erroneous thing you could do. You can't make assumptions about allegations. In politics in particular, it doesn't seem to me to matter to many people what the politicians do that they like.
You're writing off public perception though, which could hurt the party.
Public perception always depends on who is looking at it and who is seeing it. The public is not a homogeneous group. Different people have different views.
And for those who voted, it seems that was the prevailing view. Because when they did let us in after the voting was done, there was still a good crowd waiting for their leader. And by 3:30, the buzz started to come out of the counting room. John Saldivar had an insurmountable lead, as did his entire slate. At 4, Saldivar emerged, the new leader, into the embrace of his supporters.
For party leader, the Honorable Patrick Faber had a total of 227 votes, and the Honorable John Saldivar had a total of 342 votes. The Honorable John Saldivar is the new leader of the United Democratic Party.
Patrick Faber looked understandably dejected. The goal he had been working to for so many years was now gone. Anne Tracy Tager Panton, defeated soundly for first deputy, seemed to need consoling as Saldivar took the oath.
Saldivar, do solemnly swear.
I want to also call on my colleague, the Honorable Patrick Faber, to please come and join me at the podium. My colleague and friend, Patrick Faber, together we will bring victory for our United Democratic Party. Thank you, brother. Good fight. Thank you.
I am 100% with my colleagues, 100% in support of the Honorable John Saldivar. Expect my full cooperation and love for all of my colleagues.
As the crowd cheered on, it could still not drown out the murmur of scandal.
There are still certain matters where your name is being called. How do you plan to deal with that going forward?
Well, first of all, the cloud that has been hanging over my head has been put there by those who have interpreted and misinterpreted things. I have not been at this point accused of anything. I've always said that I'm not guilty of any wrongdoing. I maintain that, and until anything else is proven otherwise, that is my position. And I'm glad that the people of Belize saw it that way, whilst the media may not have.
Mr. Saldivar, you've lost before, you finally won. Last time you lost, I said, 3 times and you're out. You kept on with it and now you've got the maximum prize. Emotionally, how does it feel?
It feels very good. It feels very good. I feel vindicated for all the other times that I was not able to make it.
You look to Utah next week with anxiety?
If I look towards every day with anxiety.
Utah.
Oh, not at all. I know that there's nothing that's going to come from that that's going to affect me in any negative way. I've always maintained my innocence.
When do you expect the Prime Minister to hand over?
Prime Minister has been talking about after reading the budget, but he and I will sit and discuss that.
Why did you vote for they're meant to become honorary consul even?
I will discuss nothing more about that trial. I will discuss nothing more about that.
And on a Sunday, with all the political energies and millions spent, flocked by the party faithful, that may have been enough for them to think that the UDP, leaning and listening, can somehow survive the storms ahead.